Hey everyone, thank you for joining us today. Tiffany and Sarah from A Strong Female by Evolve Body Solutions. So we're really excited for you to be here with us today, and we just want to start talking. So we'll start by introducing ourselves. So Tiffany?
So Tiffany Garrigus, I'm an avid CrossFitter. I've been involved in the fitness and health industry for, I'd say, the last 7 years, but really actively obsessed with the concept for the last 5. And Sarah and I got together with the idea of just explaining our experiences with our knowledge and what we have to share. Being busy moms, we both have 2 children, and we absolutely love this whole wide spectrum of health and fitness. So we're really excited to share our topics.
Yeah. So I am a mom of 2. And I have been also in the fitness industry for quite a few years now, working as a personal trainer, obviously as a hobby of my own, and then also it's been a couple of years now getting into the nutrition side of it as well. So I actually coach for nutrition, fitness, mindset, and self-love. So that's what we're kind of working on today. And we really just want to talk about those issues that, you might talk about with your close friends, but they're not really issues that we talk about out loud and publicly, right? But we know that from connecting with a lot of different women, that we all really have a lot of the same issues. And so what we want to do is kind of dive into those issues a little bit deeper, because it helps people feel like, it's normal, and we want to show people what's possible. So I have done a couple of fitness competitions, and I'm no longer doing that. We'll kind of go into why, I'm sure, on other videos. But yeah, so what we want to talk about is the body image, and then fitness in terms of like mindset and physically, and nutrition as well. So basically overall wellness.
Yeah.
And that could just go on forever. So we'll just have something different to talk about every single time, and we're really excited about this.
And what are we talking about today?
So today we're just going to kind of go over some body image issues.
Yes.
Yeah.
Body image. So what we've done for the last week is we've indulged ourselves in research and just looking on the internet, see what we can pull and find out what's inspired us. We've done 2 totally different research. Sarah and I have the same conversations. We're going through the same journeys, which makes it really funny.
Yeah.
We have a lot in common. Some of the things that we want to touch on, we may not have personally experienced, but we know many people that have. So, body image. So I have it here on the Wikipedia. Like, what does body image mean? Body image is a personal perception of aesthetics or sexual attractiveness of their own body. So it's your perception of what you think you look like, basically, right?
Yeah, for sure.
It can be a positive or a negative thing.
Yeah, and we'll kind of talk about like what is a positive body image versus what is a negative body image, and it's actually like surprising how many people have kind of like a negative outlook on their body. And we've also been through a lot of these things together. Like Tiffany was saying, we're kind of like, we've got a lot of the same things going on right now, but we've also been through like tons of different things. So that just gives us more topics to kind of touch on.
Yeah. So, for women, so body image really stems from, our younger years, like when we're children, basically. And I find that this day and age is really hard because we have the internet at our fingertips, and we haven't really learned how to modify our usage yet. So we're actually using the virtuality of the internet as a reality, and that's just not true. So, you know, I mean, back in our day, we had magazines that we were looking at that we were like, you know, felt like we had to fall into that model type look, which is totally not true. I mean, it was so false.
Yeah, totally false. But there's a lot of that going around today where it's like, for me, I mean, I used to look at fitness models and that's what I wanted to look like. But you really also don't know what's going on in their lives and what they do to get to that point. And those models, like their bodies look like you see them everywhere and you think that it's something that's achievable. And so I've definitely been there where I see somebody on a magazine and I want to look like that.
Yeah.
And for me, it wasn't until I really pushed myself to get to that point that I realized that for me, that wasn't something that was sustainable or healthy.
Yeah. And for that, on that note too, I mean, think of like what you're looking at. I mean, these models, like people that we were like looking up to, I mean, okay, for one, runway models, a lot of them won the genetic gene pool. They won the lottery. Like, they're just genetically gifted. Like, lucky them, sure. But then there's the other side. I mean, you just got ready for a photo shoot. I mean, you've gotten ready for bodybuilding competitions. I've done one, but I do have a bit of an understanding, you know, even though it was bikini, bodybuilding world kind of still laughs at that category, but I worked my ass off for that one and I died it down like any bodybuilder, which probably why I didn't do very well. I came in too muscular, too lean for BC, so whatever. Yeah, so there's so much I could add to that.
Yeah, so when it comes to like people that we look up to in the sense that we want to look like them, yes, like because you were saying, there are a lot of people that are blessed genetically, especially when you're thinking about like that you want to be thin, perhaps. There are a lot of people that are just genetically thin, and then also there are people that have to work really hard to get that way, and they have to do things that are actually not very healthy for them to get like that. Because you
can get that way in a healthy way and a non-healthy way, given you get the right guidance.
Well, like the way I see it, there are better ways to do it. I mean, if you're going towards a goal like that, it's better to make small changes over the long term. And to get there, and that would be more healthy. But still, for some people, getting to that point and just like getting to that point itself, like that amount of body fat, that the shape that your body's in once you get there is not something that's healthy for some people, right?
No, because your body kind of puts itself in a stop mode. We talked a little bit about this last night, where it's like your body literally tells you where it's unhappy. And it happens with like hormones, these small things, right?
But it will, what we were saying was that like
you're too skinny or too heavy.
Yeah, because we've both experienced this where, your body is always going to give you signs. So it'll start giving you small signs, and then the signs will get bigger and bigger and just more noticeable for you. So,
and then by then it's almost like a destruction has happened, the hurricanes come through, and now you have so much work just to turn it around. I mean, how long does it take for your body to recover from a bad diet?
And that depends from person to person, but it can take a long time. Like, it can honestly take years. And I deal with people who had a lot of issues with like restrictive eating when they were younger, and they're still paying the price for it now when they're in their 40s, 50s,
right?
With metabolic issues and things like that. So I think it's a lot of the time we look at like people who are overweight, and because they're overweight, it's easy to see that they probably have some health issues going on. But then you look at people who are thinner or kind of more athletic looking, and
who you think
that they're healthy because
you think is healthy
because of the way they look, but they can have just as many internal issues going on. It just doesn't come in the form of body fat. So, so yeah, that's kind of what we were talking about last night, and we wanted to touch on today, is that you can't tell by looking at somebody what their health is like.
No.
Right? But, I mean, what else? We were also talking about body image and kind of like when you go through a journey, I guess you could say, where like a fat loss journey, and having to kind of turn that around. So that's where we're kind of dealing with right now, where we've both gone through fat loss journeys and muscle building journeys, but we're at this point where we kind of have to turn it around for our health, for hormonal reasons, and actually eat more and do the opposite of what we have been doing all these years. So which is mind blowing. Yeah. Opposite? What? It's really hard to deal with in your mind, because you're so used to, calorie restriction and working super hard, and it's hard for us to think like, oh, we might need to take a break, or we might need to eat more food, and we might need to put on some body fat in order for us to be our most healthy, our most energetic, the strongest that we can be.
Sure. I think like it's really easy to talk about these parts like the right now. Mm-hmm. But like, why do we feel the need to have a certain body type? Why do we feel the need to restrict ourselves, or why do we feel the need that we need to, do these things? And I mean, all the research I was doing was like all based on like where these issues were coming from. Yeah. And then I was like, okay, well, what is the solution? I mean, from what I read and learned from experts, that these issues that you have from when you're a teenager, which actually starts in the teen years.
Sometimes a lot younger even.
Yeah, yeah, it can be a lot younger. I've seen it a lot younger. But those people, and it can happen with boys too, like guys, struggle, but not as much as the masses of the women, but they do say that those issues never actually go away. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I do believe that you can teach an old dog new tricks. I really do. Yeah. But I mean, how much do you want to change? Do you want to live in that loathing mindset where you're always got that charge between you and food, or that bad relationship with food? Like, what is the solution to something like that?
That's right. So going into it, trying to change your mindset when it comes to your body image and trying to make it a positive one instead of a negative one, you should go into it with, like, you need to realize that, like Tiffany said, it's not something that goes away. So I've dealt with issues since I was very, very young, and they have not gone away, and they take consistent work. To make them better, and they do get better. So I promise you, if you are having issues and you really want to make those things better, it's possible to make them better, but don't go into it with the intention that it's going to be gone forever. It's kind of like any issue that you really have in your life, anything that's traumatic or kind of like mental, it's not something that completely goes away.
See, I found, like, when I was reading into like the negative body image issues, like, I see myself as a very confident woman. Like, I just do. Like, I feel confident in the things that I do and the decisions that I make. But when I was reading the negative body image issues, I actually fell into all of those categories, and thinking back to when I was a teenager, and I'm like, oh, shit, I'm not perfect. Yeah. Hey, if I'm feeling this way, I can only imagine how many of you out there are feeling the same. So I just kind of want to read a little bit about what a negative body image issue is, and then kind of, cap this off with some solutions. Because, I mean, we're not alone in these kinds of things, and that's kind of why we wanted to bring them up, that we kind of sit with these thoughts and we don't share them, we don't talk about them, And that's total bullshit. We need to talk with our friends and we need to let these things out so we know we're just not alone. And I mean, that is such a refreshing feeling.
Yeah, and the more that you talk about it, the more you'll realize that actually a lot of people are dealing with the same issues, like I said before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the sites I pulled up was from Dove, actually. Dove has a self-esteem project. I don't know, I mean, I've seen multiple commercials on them and they actually make my heart drop because they're so real, and they talk about, they show normal looking women, whether you're, you know, not skinny, not fat, you know, we all have all these different, I don't even like saying that word fat. I think that's just ridiculous. I think it's just, we've put such a stigma to that word that, like, it's just who you are, like, and
that's, you make it who you are.
Yeah.
And like, what's fat? Like, fat is something that every woman, every
fat
person
is like
has.
what's on our bodies. I don't know.
And we need it to be healthy. But you basically just give yourself that label of being fat, which is an object, and it's not what you are. So if you're one of those people that are saying I'm fat all the time, you need to change that. You need to start thinking about the things that you really are, because you're not a piece of fat.
Do some research. Google what fat means.
Yeah. Yeah, you might be overweight, and that's a problem that you might need to address, but saying it over and over again isn't something that is going to help you.
No. So, I mean, signs of low body confidence. Okay, I know a majority of you guys that are watching this may fall into this, but that's okay, because that just means you're human, and we're really we're living in a certain type of society and like a way of being. So, you know, we could have been sitting with these things for many years, and that's fine. Like, that's just, it's okay. So signs of low body confidence and negative body image is if you're overly focused on your weight and body shape. Mm-hmm. So if you're always stepping on the scale and you're literally obsessing with those numbers, that's a sign, okay? If you complain about your features, your skin color, the size of your nose, your chin, and you're saying kind of to yourself that you don't like these things about you, that's a sign of a low body image. Your looks. I mean, my God. Ladies, if you're standing in front of the mirror for more than 10 minutes, you look fine. Your decision on what you wear, you made a great decision. It looks great. I mean, Sarah, you were saying that you have clothes because your weight fluctuates often just because of what we do. And I mean, for competitive reasons.
Yeah.
But talk a little bit about that, please.
So going into those issues, everything that you named is something that I've done before, and still some things that I still do. And I know that I've had these issues since I was young, but I also made those issues worse by not having dealt with the issue and then really kind of making it an obsessive thing when I started to do like bodybuilding competitions, fitness competitions, because you sort of have to get into this obsessive mindset where you're measuring and weighing yourself and your food. And then just my body changing so much and kind of having this expectancy of what I needed to look like all the time as a trainer, as...
That sounds exhausting.
And it is extremely exhausting. And really, it got to a point where I realized that, okay, this is my issue, the low confidence in my body, like negative body image, and I have to do something about it. So if you do kind of fit any of those things, then it's something that you should definitely work on because it's very exhausting mentally, emotionally. And so what she was talking about with the clothing is that I have clothing for kind of every body size that I am, because there was a point where I was very overweight, and at that point I threw out all of my clothing that I thought at one point I would never fit into. And then I finally got into my fitness, trying to better myself in that way, and nutrition, and I actually ended up getting back down to the size that I would have fit into those clothes. And I was like, wow, I got rid of a lot of expensive clothes that I could have had now that I loved, but I thought I would never get back into. So from that point on, I kind of just like decided I was going to keep my stuff for all sizes. So that was my decision. But then when I got into competing, I got really, really small, and I got rid of my clothes for when I was fitter because I was like, I'm going to look like this forever. Like, I love this and I can totally maintain it. And then, sure enough, afterwards, I rebounded and I gained a bunch of weight and I had nothing left that fit me. So I was constantly trying to fit into these clothes.
She's like going like this.
Yeah.
Shop. Let's go shopping.
Constantly trying to fit into these clothes that weren't fitting me and feeling awful about it because I like couldn't get my pants on, or I could get them on, but they looked awful on me. And so that was like kind of the goal that I was going for, and I couldn't get there while staying healthy. So it was just kind of like I was a mess in my head at that time. So then once I kind of got my shit together and like started working on my body image, I was like, okay, Sarah, like, you clearly need to just get some bigger clothes to fit into so that you can feel good about yourself, like, that you can still look good. So that's what I do now. Like, I have smaller clothes and I have some bigger clothes, and I look good all the time because I have clothes that fit me properly. So,
and doesn't it, like, I know, like, growing up, I've always heard, if the clothes don't fit and you don't wear it for a year, get rid of them. And I've done that. And I was at a size I don't think I'll ever be at again. Mm-hmm. But my weight does fluctuate because I'm an athlete and because I compete myself in CrossFit. It's something completely different, but you do lean out a bit more, and you can't walk around with pants falling off of you. Yeah. So I actually have a Tupperware where I put, I swap them out. So like they're not taking room up in my closet, and I'm not having to see them, and I'm not like, I don't know. I just feel like it's a little bit overrated, like getting rid of the clothes, especially if you have a body type that builds fat easy and builds muscle easily. Yeah. Like you're going to have times going up and down. And I'm sorry, I don't care to spend all that money on clothes. Like, I just don't. Yeah. I just don't. So
that's not everyone, but that's us.
I know. So. That is us.
Yeah, and sorry, I don't know where I was going with that.
Okay, so finding clothes that fit you. Okay, for all you moms out there, remember when you first got pregnant and you were like just squeezing, you're still wearing your clothes, and you got to a point where like you just felt fat and disgusting. I'm sorry, I am going to use that word because that is like how you feel when you're in that odd trimester in your your first trimester, going in your second trimester, and you're still trying to squeeze in your clothes. And honestly, ladies, we all know when we get pregnant, we're used to our bodies looking a certain way, and now we're trying to fit into clothes that just are not. They're just too tight. So how good does it feel to get into something that actually fits our bodies? That's basically where like I feel like I can resonate that with.
Well, yeah, so that's kind of where I was going. Like, I mean, as long as you are doing, like, taking care of yourself, you are taking care of your nutrition, you're active, like, choose the things that fit you, that make you feel comfortable. Yeah. And this, like, can get totally, like, turned around when we say it. Like, it's that idea of being comfortable at any body size that you're in. Yes, be comfortable in it because this is what you're stuck with right now. But obviously be continuously working towards being healthier, or whatever that is to you, right?
Yeah. So that comes to also another point. I was just talking to Jordan, our third musketeer, and that was another thing that really came to my mind is like, we have this perception of what we want to look like, but have we really ventured out so deeply to find something that just makes us feel good? I mean, when I first started my fitness journey, I thought I was going to look a certain way, and I was like, I can't wait. And I wasn't looking the way I perceived, which really did a mind fuck. Yeah. I was literally like, I'm a failure. I'm never going to look this way. I can't do it. And literally my confidence like went down.
Yeah.
And I mean, how can you feel good doing that?
That's right.
Right?
Yeah, so what we're all about here is about being strong and feeling good, essentially.
Feel good
mind,
with what
body,
you're
soul, and being strong as well. So kind of taking it away from that side of looking a certain way, especially if you're trying to look like somebody else, because we're
look
all
like
so
you.
different.
Because you're the only reason why people love you is for who you are.
Yeah.
And you notice that like less people care
That's
about you when you're trying to pretend that you're somebody else. Like it's not really.
And when it comes down to it, once you get to that body that you always wanted to achieve, that you thought was going to make you so happy, I can tell you that it's not. It's not.
Perfect topic.
If you're not happy in other aspects, like if you're doing this for like not the right reason, you're not going to be happy then once you get there.
That's right. That's a great. Yes. So I want to add to that. So that was the same thing I went through.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to look a certain way. And then even when I got at my smallest for my first show, I'm telling you, I was not happy.
Dude, I was miserable.
What the heck?
Yeah.
If you can't be happy in your skin now, when are you ever going to be happy? I promise it won't happen.
Yeah.
It won't happen.
It's just not something that comes from looking a certain way. There are so many more aspects to it. And actually, like our main focus is the fact that if you take care of yourself, so if you're eating well, that includes eating enough, the right foods, and you're,
what are the right foods? Because we say right foods
for you.
Right. But I mean that generally, I'm going to generalize that. That's fresh food, guys. That isn't your pantry food. Just saying.
Yeah, so just taking care of your body, giving it what it needs. So yes, whole single ingredient foods, fresh foods, and then you're also physically active in whatever way works the best for you, because that's also different for each individual. I mean, I do some bodybuilding activities. Tiffany does more of the CrossFit side. Some people like to hike and do more outdoorsy things. Some people like to swim. So whatever works for you. If you're doing that, and if you're actually doing some more self-care things too, so like mindful activities, like
meditation,
and making sure that you get enough sleep. That's also essential. If you're taking care of all those things, they're actually going to work synergistically, so that, and what will happen essentially is you will start to look better and your confidence will go up. So if you just simply focus on looking a certain way and you're just dieting to look a certain way and exercising to look a certain way,
it doesn't last, guys.
It's not going to last.
You're
and
doing
you're not
more
gonna
damage. More damage. No. I mean, I feel like the positive, we talk a lot about the negative because I feel like in our culture here, we fall into that more so. I mean, people with a positive body image and perspective, they're not going to fully relate with these things. I mean, we've seen heavier, curvier girls who were like, much heavier than us, and they're rocking a bikini.
Yeah.
And they look so hot because they feel hot. They look hot.
I've had this conversation so much lately with my clients and my friends, how, this negative body image that some of us have, it's like we start looking a certain way, we get a little bit puffier, we're not as defined, we've put on some weight, and then all of a sudden we feel like we can't walk around in a bikini. And then you go to the beach or you go to the pool and there are these girls there who are not in as great shape as us by any means, but their confidence is just crazy good.
Through the roof.
And they're
like, I want some of that.
And we're watching them like, whoa, like, I need, yeah, exactly.
What do I have to complain about? We're getting ready for your Mexico trip. Let's go to Mexico and let's work our asses off just to gain it all back, and you get there and you're like the smallest person on the beach.
Yeah.
Nobody gives a shit. Nobody cares. Nobody's watching.
Yeah, so that's something that we are working on, and definitely I can say that it's gotten a lot better for me over the years.
Yeah.
But it's still not perfect. Like, I still see girls that are way more confident than me, and I'm like, I want that. I want it so bad. So
it comes with age.
Yeah.
It comes
so
with
we want
age.
the confidence. I don't know, man.
I'm
There's
in
some
my
young girls out
mid-30s
there
and-
with some serious confidence.
Well, I'm being the older I've gotten in the years, so much of that just has not mattered anymore, because you get a way bigger, broader spectrum of what's really important in this world, and literally what the little old me has, really doesn't fucking matter, because
that's right.
We're a speck of dust in this universe, guys. Your issues are very small, especially, and it could be worse.
But they're, like, those feelings are still valid, and a lot of the times they came from, like we said, childhood, and there are a lot of women who are a lot older that still deal with those issues. So it's like, it goes through all of the ages, but I think that in one of our videos we'll probably talk about, since I know that a lot of these issues stem from my childhood, kind of ways that you can talk to your children, the way, like, kind of things that you can build in them now so that they don't deal with the same issues that you might have dealt with in terms of body image.
I have some solutions. I just want to share some things that, some recommendations on, how to build that body image. So, gratitude for what it is and what works. If we're not building a gratitude for the things that we have and the things that we should be grateful for, you kind of end up steering the opposite way into what I call the dark side. So
thinking about all those things that you don't have, right? And so I think when it comes to your body, it's really important to focus on the positive aspects.
Yeah.
So we all know that there are certain things we love more about our bodies than others. Everybody has those things, but definitely appreciating.
Be grateful.
Be grateful for and focus on those positive things instead of, say you have really great eyes. Go in the mirror and stare at your eyes and not stare at, like, that spot that you absolutely hate, right?
Yes.
Because it's not going to do you any good. So just focusing on
the things that you love.
The things we love the most.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of sickness out there, so we could be grateful for our health too, right?
Absolutely.
We're still around. This is a short life, guys. So the other one is listen to your body. Mm-hmm. Listen to the needs of your body. If you're kind of in a place where you're really not sure where to start, I mean, this is why we really put ourselves out there. We really indulge ourselves in the knowledge on these topics. So, I mean, to listen to your body, if you're sitting with an ailment and you're going to your doctor, please be aware that, the medications and things that are being prescribed also can be configured as a Band-Aid. I'm not saying these are all the cases. They're not. But, I go through this with my mom, and she, has high blood pressure. Well, I know for what she's dealing with, we can control that with food. So we're also working on that too. Rewire your brain. So basically your subconscious, we're talking about your subconscious mind. We believe everything that we tell ourselves. Whatever we say is truth, right? Mm-hmm. So if we're constantly telling ourselves that we're no good and we're too ugly, we don't deserve this, those will be truth for ourselves.
So definitely having those positive mantras, and that's kind of like going back to focusing on the positive things and being grateful for what you have. Yes. Like focusing on those, talking about those more often, the positive things, and then you'll get more of those essentially.
Totally. Reevaluate self-worth. How we nourish our bodies has to do with self-worth. I mean, these are our temples. I love that concept.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, this is our body.
It's like your one home that you always have, and you only have one of them. And if you really care about yourself, then you will essentially take care of that temple. So feeding it the right things, treating it the right way. And if you're constantly talking about yourself in a negative way, giving yourself poor nutrition, those are kind of ways of treating your body in a negative way and having low self-worth. So,
and you're gonna feel like shit. So listen to your own information. Okay, this means who are you surrounding yourself with? Who are you following? Who are you listening to? Who's listening to you? Is it somebody who's either going to feed into your BS, or are you going to someone with some actual good knowledge, someone with some really good advice if you're looking for advice, right? I mean, I really believe to make yourself, like, if you're trying to work on a certain area of yourself, you take those steps towards that better self, you know, like.
So if you feel like if you're hanging around people who kind of make you feel more negative, because it's not gonna help you to get better in any way.
No, it's gonna drag
and you
down.
can tell who those people are, and sometimes it's really hard to get rid of those negative people from your life. I've been there. Actually, one of the hardest things to do, but it can be extremely beneficial. Like, in order to kind of get anywhere, you really need to kind of block those people out.
Yeah. So I feel like, you know, with this topic is really about, you know, conquering our own personal issues, especially with our body image, because if we're not feeling good about ourselves, and if we're not putting ourselves first, yes, obviously our children do come first, but if we're not feeling good with ourselves, how can we benefit this world? How can we make a change in this world?
And we should we'll do this in another video, but talking about that whole thing about putting yourself first, and when there are like children involved and things like that, because essentially, yeah, I mean, I'm not really going to go into it, but you can't take care of anyone to the best of your ability, and you can't give them your whole self and your true self unless you're taking care of number one, which is you, and that's what we really want to... You. That's really what we want to, like, get into here, is that it's hard, especially being a mom, being a woman, being busy, working, trying to do all these things. We kind of lose ourselves a lot of the time, and so we just want to help you. We want to be kind of like a supportive group. We want to have a supportive group and a place where we can talk about these issues and help you become a better person so that you can be better for the people in your life.
Because we're just crazy about you. We are. We really care.
And we're just real people, and we deal with all these issues ourselves, and we absolutely don't know everything when it comes to this, and we're not professionals on a lot of these topics, but we think that even if we don't know everything, it's totally worth it to speak up about it. So
I agree.
Thank you all so much for watching, and we should be back soon with another video for you. Thanks for watching, Strong Females. Have a great day.